I'm finally doing it. Reviewing the Darkvoice 336 SE tube headphone amplifier. So this, when I unboxed it, is probably my second most popular video so far. So I feel it's time to actually review it. And I've had ample time now to listen to it and understand its quirks and characteristics. So this is made in China, as you would expect. But it is only somewhere between $200 and $300 depending on when and where you buy it. And for a tube headphone amplifier, a fully tube, not hybrid, fully tube headphone amplifier, that's pretty good. So my shit Magni and like my Marantz and my THX in there, those are all solid state using transistors, which is a new technology, as in 50-ish years old. Tubes are a little older. I'm not going to explain exactly how vacuum tubes work, but basically vacuum inside glass heated up to make electricity go. Very, very simple explanation. But this can do a similar job to a transistor. And this has certain properties that audiophiles, a lot of audiophiles, maybe not all, but a lot of audiophiles believe is better than transistors. Due to the sheer analog nature of it, which technically transistors by themselves are analog, but these are affected by all sorts of things: humidity, ambient temperature, vibration, how old the tubes are, which tubes you have. The music playing can literally, they're microphonic, in fact, and if they're kind of better for speakers in a way, because since they're microphonic, the movement of the air from the speaker itself can have certain impacts on there that some people claim to notice. I'm not 100% sold on it, but people believe it at least. That microphonic quality almost brings about a like a reverb effect. You don't really get that on headphones, so it doesn't really matter. Anyhow, I've unboxed this and it's heavy. As I mentioned before, it is, I haven't weighed it, but it's heavy because this is all transformer. All transformer. And then just big old giant caps. So it's a nice metal chassis. It's well put together. It's made in China, but it's well put together. You can see everything in there looks very nice. The finish is this nice brushed aluminum. It has a nice logo on there. And it looks cool. The switch on-off is a very standard but very nice clunky on-off toggle. A volume knob that can go all the way around to 6. Almost, that goes to 5. Okay. 6, 15 to 5. It's nice and smooth but very resistant. Well indicated. Plastic, but you don't notice it too much. It's a good knob. Single-ended output, which is fine, especially at this price point of between $200 and $300, depending on when and where you buy it. Well ventilated everywhere because it needs to be. Metal feet with little pads. That, yeah, it's nice to have that. And then pretty simple back here: power in, out. So you can preamp with the output if you want. You put in some input via RCA, and you can play music when you turn it on. Now it takes, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 seconds for the tubes to warm up, which if you're not used to that because you had a transistor-based solid-state amp and you just turn it on and 2 seconds later you can hear it, yeah, you gotta wait for these to warm up. And they will glow orange, which is cool. Also, there, right here, you see how it's black? That's because I put electrical tape there. Because this has a big old just screw you blue LED that blinds you. And I have it over there usually, and I will have this playing my headphones from my chair, and I will turn off all the lights to listen, and that nice warm glow just kind of bathes you from those tubes, and then this bright light would just destroy it completely. So I covered that up, and you should. Please, if you don't, you're a monster. So basically, the build is strong, the price is perfect. This is an entry level into tubes where you're not at a hybrid. This is a full tube. Hybrid being where part of it is transistor and part of it's tube. This is all tube. It's a little more that, like, if you want to just get into headphones, don't do this. Do a Magni. That's a better option. $100 or $99 to get in with solid state, that's a better option. This is for someone who's had solid state at least a little bit, or even if they didn't have solid state for headphones, they're getting into headphones from being a speaker audiophile and they want to start with headphones. This is a good, like, entry into it. Now, there are way more expensive tube amps, but this is a good start. And I've heard you can roll the tubes on this, which means I could buy different tubes and swap them in and out, and you change the sound, in fact. And this is another thing about tube amps. Remember this, guys. You need to change these every year because they just wear out. They just seek in air or explode. So they do need to change. This has been a couple months I've had it now, so like I'm probably halfway through the life of these tubes. But I believe they're Chinese tubes, so they're not too expensive to replace. How does it sound? Well, that's the hardest part of this. It's not that it sounds bad. It does sound good. It has that sound you when people describe a tube you would expect. It's a little warmer, so a little more low mids, higher bass sort of frequencies are a little more pronounced. Things do widen out a bit, but it also has much higher distortion, so you do lose a lot of detail. So increase in soundstage, reduction in imaging, reduction in clarity, slight change to the frequency responses where you get slightly warmer. So it's really more of different than better. Objectively, it's worse. If you measure this, it's worse in every way. But it's a sound signature that is pleasant rather than accurate. So this is definitely never going to be something you use to mix or anything. This is not ever meant for analytical listening. This is meant for pleasurable listening. So it gets, in that regard, it's a mixed review. I do enjoy the sound. It's very pleasurable. It's very audiophile. But it is absolutely not pursuit of perfection. That does not exist. And you shouldn't really try for that in tubes because they're just an inherently more flawed system than transistors are. The other thing I've noticed is, because I run this on my turntable a lot, is that it does seem to exacerbate problems, as in surface noise. I notice crackles and pops way more on this than I do on transistors. And I don't know if that's because I'm crazy and I'm imagining it, or if there's something about the circuit in there. You know, he's probably using op amps, or I guess that's a current-based one over there, the Magni. But either it has like feedback loops or filters or something, or I'm just insane, but it doesn't. This definitely seems to have a more pronounced issue with surface noise on records. Digital audio does not have as much of an issue because it doesn't have surface noise. So if you're not listening to vinyl, that's not a concern for you. But if you are listening to vinyl, that's a concern I have noticed. Other than that, it's a well-built device with readily available and relatively easy and cheap to replace tubes that gets you into tube sound for headphones at a reasonable price, reasonable obtainability. You can order this on Amazon or Massdrop, where I got it. I have no major complaints. I do enjoy this, and it's out here for a reason. It is the most enjoyable amp I have. It is the least accurate amp I have, but it is the most enjoyable. So this is what I go to when I relax. So take that for what you will. Perfect, no. Good, yes. It's also cool. Like, it just looks cool. You gotta admit that.